lads, what's going on? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be back with another Championship predictions video, and I know these keep getting released on Saturday, before, so when I ask you to put predictions in the comments, none of you can actually do legitimate predictions because most of the games have happened. So yeah, I'm gonna start trying to get these out a little bit earlier for the views on the Fridays, because I know this one will again be out on Saturday because I won't have time to edit today on Friday. So without further ado, let's just get straight into predicting games. First game is between Huddersfield and West Brom on Friday night. Kicks off at 5:30 this one. Huddersfield currently sitting 20th spot on 48 points, whereas West Brom is second on 82. Huddersfield, sorry, didn't mean say West Brom. West Brom, I've said it again. What am I playing at, lads? No, Huddersfield, right, I got it right that time. They haven't won in their last 3 games. Drew 0-0 with Reading and Wednesday, and then in between those games they lost 2-0 to Luton. West Brom, on the other hand, they haven't lost. They beat Derby 2-0, but then with 2 draws last 2 games they've played. They drew 1-0 against Blackburn and then 0-0 against Fulham. For this one though, I think West Brom, if they basically drop points in this one, Leeds get promoted because West Brom can't catch them, but Brentford can, so therefore Leeds would finish in the top 2 either way. So basically for this one, I think Huddersfield, sorry, I keep saying West Brom instead of Huddersfield, what am I playing at? Huddersfield, they haven't won in the last 3, so there's obviously a bit of a downslide in form there, and obviously West Brom, they're a good side, they're a strong side, so for this one I'm going to go for a 2-0 away win for West Brom, because I just basically don't want Leeds to get promoted through West Brom losing or drawing. Next game takes place between Charlton and Wigan. First game on Saturday, it kicks off at 12:30. Charlton currently sitting 21st spot on 47 points, not totally safe of the relegation spots. Wigan, on the other hand, are 13th on 57. In the last 3 Charlton, they have not won. They lost 2-1 against Brentford and 1-0 against Reading. But then last time out, they drew 1-0 with Birmingham. Wigan, on the other hand, they have not lost in the last 3. They beat QPR 1-0. Drew 0-0 with Barnsley, and then absolutely hammered Hull last time out, and that just amazing result, really. 8-0, obviously. For this one, I think Wigan, they're on good form. Probably a better side than Charlton all round, and form backs my theory on that one. So for this one, I'm going to go for a 3-1 away win for Wigan. Next game is again at 12:30 when it kicks off, and it's between Stoke and Brentford. Stoke currently sitting 17th spot on 50 points, whereas Brentford are 3rd on 81. And if West Brom do happen to slip up against Huddersfield, then they have a chance to overtake them. So yeah, just you guys down below, let me know who you think will get that second automatic spot, as Leeds are basically already promoted. I think personally Brentford will do it, as they're on great form. I think they've won like their last 8 or something like that. I don't know. Well, anyway, in the last 3, Stoke, they lost 5-0 to Leeds, beat Birmingham 2-0 last time out, drew 1-0 with Bristol City. Brentford, on the other hand, they have won every one of the last 3 and every one of the last 8, like I just said. Beat Charlton 2-1, Derby 3-1, and Preston 1-0. For this one, though, I think Brentford, if West Brom do slip up, they might feel a bit of pressure, so I think they might concede. And for this one, I'm going to go for a 2-1 away win for Brentford. I think it'll be tight. On to the first 3 o'clock game, and it's between Blackburn and Reading at Ewood Park. Blackburn currently sitting 12th spot on 60 points, whereas Reading are 14th on 56, so a mid-table game here. Blackburn in the last 3 have won, drawn and lost, and it's the same with Reading actually. They beat Blackburn, they beat Cardiff 3-2, drew 1-0 with West Brom, and then last time out lost 1-0 against Millwall. Reading, on the other hand, they drew 0-0 with Huddersfield, then beat Charlton 1-0, and last time out lost 2-1 to Middlesbrough. For this one, I think both teams will have pretty much the same results in the last 3, and both lost last time out. So for this one, I think it'll be a tight game, and I think it will finish as a 1-1 draw. Next game is between Fulham and Wednesday. Fulham currently sitting 4th spot on 77, whereas Wednesday we are in 15th spot on 56 points. Not really going anywhere up or down, but if we do get that 12-point deduction, then we could be in a bit of a mess. Fulham in the last 3, they have not lost. They beat Forest 1-0, Cardiff 2-0, and then drew 0-0 with West Brom. They're playing 3 teams in and around them in the table, up around the promotion area. Wednesday we have won, drawn and lost. We lost 3-1 to Preston, then bounced back with a big win against QPR, winning that one 3-0. Excellent win for us, and then last time out drew 0-0 against Huddersfield. For this one, I think Wednesday we are better away from home, as we are the top scorers in the league away from home, but we just can never replicate the same form at home. So for this one, I think Fulham, they're a good side, so I think it will be a tight game, but I think Fulham will win this one 2-1. Next game is a huge one in terms of the relegation fight. It's between Hull and Luton at the KCOM Stadium. Hull currently sitting 22nd spot on 45 points, whereas Luton are 23rd on 45 also, but are below Hull on goal difference. Hull have lost everyone in the last three, 2-1 to Bristol, 1-0 against Millwall, and then obviously got hammered last time out, 8-0 by Wigan. Luton on the other hand, I don't know why I said Wigan. They have not lost in the last three. Drew 1-0 with Barnsley, beat Huddersfield 2-0, and then last time out drew 1-0 with QPR. For this one, I think Hull, they'll be feeling a bit embarrassed after that 8-0 loss against Hull. So I think they would try and bounce back, but obviously there's a huge mental effect when you lose 8-0, isn't it? So I think with this one, I think it'll be a tight game. Both teams nervy as they want to stay in the Championship. So for this one, I'm going to go for a 1-0 away win for Luton. Next game, it takes place at the Riverside Stadium and it is between Middlesbrough and Cardiff. Middlesbrough are in 18th spot, currently on 50 points, whereas Cardiff are 6th on 67. Middlesbrough, they have won 2 and lost 1 in their last 3. Beat Millwall 2-0, lost to Bristol 3-1, and then last time out bounced back from that loss against Bristol with a 2-1 win over Reading. Cardiff, on the other hand, they have lost 2 and won 1. They lost 3-2 to Blackburn, 2-0 to Fulham, and then last time out they beat Derby 2-1, bouncing back from the loss against Fulham. For this one, I think both teams have bounced back from losses in their last game, and I do think Cardiff are a strong side and will want to cement their spot in the playoffs. So for this one, I'm going for a 2-1 away win for Cardiff. Next game is between Preston and Birmingham at Deepdale. Preston are in 9th spot on 62 points, whereas Birmingham are in 19th on 50 points. Preston have won, drawn and lost in their last 3. Beat Wednesday 3-1, drew 1-1 with Nottingham Forest, and the last time out they lost 1-0 to informed Brentford, which is no surprise because anyone just seems to be losing to Brentford at the minute on such a roll. Birmingham, on the other hand, they have not won their last 3. Lost 3-1 against Swansea, 2-0 against Stoke, and then drew 1-1 against Charlton last time out. For this one, I think both teams, they're on similar form as Preston. Obviously, they lost last time out, but they have bounced back from that long streak of not winning. So with regards to that, I don't think Birmingham have won in a while either. So with regards to that, I think Preston they'll be maybe trying to push to get in those playoff spots. They are obviously 5 points off there. So for this one, I think Preston will win this one. It will be a tight affair though, I think it will be. So I'm going to go for a 1-0 home win for Preston. Next game takes place at the Kean Price Foundation Stadium and is between QPR and Millwall, a London derby in this one. QPR currently sitting 16th spot on 54 points, whereas Millwall are on 7th on 65, trying to maybe get into those playoff areas. In their last 3, QPR, they have not won. They lost 1-0 against Wigan, 3-0 against Wednesday, and then last time out drew 1-0 against Luton. Millwall, on the other hand, won 2, lost 1, lost 2-0 against Middlesbrough, but then bounced back with back-to-back 1-0 wins against Hull and Blackburn. With this one, I think Millwall, that they will want to aim to try and get in those playoffs. Like, obviously, I don't think anyone had predicted them to be in the playoffs at the start of the season, so they'll be determined to prove a lot of people wrong. So for this one, I think it'll be a tight game, but I think Millwall will win this one and probably just nick it. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 away win for Millwall. Next match is between Swansea and Bristol City. Swansea currently sitting 8th spot on 64 points, whereas Bristol are in 10th on 62. Swansea have won, drawn and lost in their last 3. They beat Birmingham 3-1, but then lost to Leeds 1-0, and then last time out they drew 2-2 with Nottingham Forest. Bristol, on the other hand, they haven't lost in their last 3 since the sacking of Lee Johnson, obviously. They beat Hull 2-1, Middlesbrough 3-1, and then last time out drew 1-1 with Stoke. For this one, I think both sides, they're on decent form. They may want to push, try and get in the playoff spots, and I think they're 2 very even sides on paper. So for this one, I think that it will be a 1-1 draw, quite a close game. So yeah, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw like I just said. Next game is between Derby and Leeds, and it is the first game on Sunday. This one kicks off at 2 o'clock. Derby currently sitting 11th spot on 61 points, and I think the dream of getting playoffs is a bit optimistic. Leeds, on the other hand, they're obviously top of the table on 87 points. Derby have lost everyone in the last 3, which is a complete contrast to Leeds, who have won every one of their last 3. Derby, they lost 2-0 against West Brom, 3-1 against Brentford, then 2-1 against Cardiff. And although they have lost all those 3 games, they were against promotion teams who are pushing to get a chance in the playoffs or automatic promotion. Leeds, on the other hand, they beat Stoke 5-0, Swansea 1-0, and then, back-to-back 1-0 wins against Swansea and Barnsley. And I think if Leeds do not drop points in this one, then they go up to the Premier League after a long-waited return. And I don't think they will win this one. They're on real hard. They want to get to Premier League as soon as possible. So for this one, I'm going for a 2-0 away win for Leeds. On to the final game of this game week, and it kicks off at 3 o'clock on Sunday and is between Barnsley and Forest, and this is a huge game for Barnsley. Obviously sit bottom of the table on 43 points, whereas Forest are 5th in the playoff spots on 70 points. Barnsley have not won in their last 3, drew 1-0 against Luton, 0-0 against Wigan, and then last time out obviously lost 1-0 to Leeds through that own goal from Solbauer. Forest are, on the other hand, well, not on the other hand really, had the same results in the last 3. They've lost 1 and drawn 2. They lost 1-0 to Fulham and then back-to-back draws, 1-0 against Preston and 2-0 against Swansea. Have just sort of recorrected their form, They're pretty much already in the playoffs, so they'll just want to consolidate their place, because you never know, some team could sneak in at the end of the season. For this one, I think Barnsley, they'll need a win, but I don't think they'll be able to get one as Forest are too strong a side, and I'm pretty sure they played Brentford last game of the season, so they've had a horrible last 3. In the last 3, I've just realised they've played Leeds, Forest, and Brentford, who they're playing on the last game of the season, so I feel really sorry for them, and unfortunately I do think they will go down, and I think they'll lose this one 2-1, so I'm going for a 2-1 away win for Nottingham Forest. Like a Hellcat.